Open the document. You know the one, the application, the assignment, the email, the bill. You have time. You know what to do. And somehow, within 5 minutes, you are cleaning a drawer you have ignored for 3 years. This looks ridiculous. So the obvious explanation is laziness. Except laziness does not explain why you can work brutally hard on almost anything except the thing that matters most. You can reorganize your entire kitchen. Answer 12 pointless messages. Research headphones you are not buying. Suddenly become passionate about laundry. Your brain is not refusing activity. It is refusing a feeling. And that changes the question. Procrastination is not simply, why won't you work? The stranger question is, what is your brain trying to escape? For most of human history, survival problems were immediate. Cold mattered now. A predator mattered now. A hostile stranger mattered now. Hunger mattered now. The nervous system became very good at responding to discomfort with action. Move toward relief. Move away from threat. That machinery did not disappear when humans invented calendars, taxes, university deadlines, and quarterly reports. But modern threats became weird. A spreadsheet cannot bite you. A blank page cannot chase you. An unanswered email has no claws, yet each can produce uncertainty, shame, boredom, frustration, or fear of failure. And your nervous system still cares about the feeling, not the philosophical meaning of the task, the feeling. That is where procrastination starts getting uncomfortable. In 1997, psychologists Diane Tice and Roy Baumeister followed students across a semester. Early on, procrastinators actually reported less stress and less illness. That sounds like evidence for procrastination. For a while, avoidance worked. They escaped the unpleasant task and felt better. But the bill arrived later. By the end, procrastinators had more stress, more illness, and lower grades. The delay had purchased emotional relief. It simply charged interest. Think about that for a second. The behavior was not completely irrational in the moment. It did something useful. It changed how the person felt right now. The future consequences belonged to someone else, future you. And your brain has a strange relationship with that person. You know future you exists. You may even care deeply about them. But distant consequences are weak competitors against immediate discomfort. A deadline next month is abstract. A boring task in front of you is not. So your brain makes a tiny trade. Relief now, pain, later, again and again, until later becomes tonight. Then the future arrives carrying a baseball bat. But maybe this is still just bad discipline. Maybe some people simply have terrible habits. They underestimate time. They get distracted. They never learned organization. That explanation deserves real weight. Procrastination is connected to self-control, planning, confidence, and personality. People also delay for different reasons. One person fears failure. Another hates boredom. Another feels overwhelmed. Another has learned that panic produces a last-minute burst of focus. Calling all of this one ancient survival reflex would be neat. Too neat. There is no single procrastination organ hiding in your skull. And procrastination itself is not some clearly preserved prehistoric adaptation. It is a modern label covering several behaviors. But here is where the simple discipline story breaks. In 2007, psychologist Piers Steele reviewed hundreds of findings on procrastination. His meta-analysis examined 691 correlations. Some popular explanations were surprisingly weak. Rebelliousness and sensation-seeking were not major answers. Stronger predictors included task unpleasantness, impulsiveness, low confidence in success, and how distant the reward was. That pattern matters, because it suggests procrastination is not merely a failure to understand the calendar. It is a collision between motivation and time. The farther away the payoff feels, the weaker its pull. The more unpleasant the task feels, the stronger the urge to escape. And anything rewarding right now becomes dangerous. Your phone does not need to be irresistible. It only needs to feel slightly better than the task. That is an absurdly low bar. A difficult report offers uncertainty. Your phone offers novelty. A workout offers effort. The couch offers relief. A difficult conversation offers social risk. A video offers absolutely nothing important. Perfect. Nothing important can hurt you. This is where procrastination begins to look less like laziness and more like emotional triage. Your brain is choosing which feeling to tolerate, and it often protects the present version of you, even when that damages the future one. In 2013, psychologists Fuskia Siroy and Timothy Peichel pushed this idea further. They argued that procrastination is deeply tied to short-term mood repair. When a task feels aversive, delaying it can regulate emotion. You remove the trigger, your mood improves, for a moment. That relief is the trap, because relief teaches. Behaviors followed by relief become tempting to repeat. Open the difficult document, feel tension. Close it, feel better. Your nervous system just received a tiny lesson. Avoidance works. Tomorrow, the document may feel even worse. Now it carries the original difficulty plus guilt, so you avoid it again. The task grows without changing. A 10-minute email becomes a 3-day psychological creature living in your kitchen. And this is why shame can make procrastination worse. Shame feels like punishment. Punishment makes the task more emotionally loaded. The more emotionally loaded it becomes, the more attractive escape becomes. You tell yourself you need harsher discipline. Your brain hears, this task is dangerous enough to require punishment. Beautiful system. This also explains why important tasks can be especially dangerous. The more the task matters, the more failure can threaten identity. You are not merely writing badly. You might be proving you are bad. That interpretation may be false, but emotionally, it raises the stakes before the work even begins. No notes. Now zoom out. Why should immediate emotion have so much power? Because brains evolved under uncertainty. A distant reward is never guaranteed. Energy spent now is real. Risk felt now is real. Tomorrow has always been less certain than today. Natural selection did not design humans for online forms due in 3 weeks. It built nervous systems that constantly weigh effort, reward, threat, and timing. Modern life stretches those systems across artificial horizons. Retirement, degrees, mortgages, long projects, career plans, health goals. The reward can be months away. The discomfort arrives immediately. And then modern technology adds an almost comic complication. Instant alternatives. Food, games, messages, videos, shopping, news. Thousands of tiny mood repairs available in seconds. Your ancestors had distractions. Of course they did, but they did not carry an infinite slot machine in a pocket beside the unfinished tax return. Still, the biological story cannot explain everything. Culture matters. Learning matters. Mental health can matter. Sleep matters. The task itself matters. Sometimes delaying something is rational. Sometimes you need more information. Sometimes the deadline is artificial. Sometimes a task genuinely should be abandoned. And some people work better under tighter time pressure. The honest answer is not that every delay is pathological. Procrastination becomes different when you knowingly delay an intended action despite expecting the delay to make things worse. That contradiction is the clue. You are not choosing the better outcome. You are choosing the more tolerable present, which means the real battle often begins before productivity. It begins with emotion. Can you tolerate confusion for 10 minutes? Can you tolerate being bad at the first draft? Can you tolerate boredom without immediately anesthetizing it? Can you begin while still uncertain? That is harder than downloading another productivity app, and much less marketable. Bring that back to the document. It is still sitting there. Nothing about it has physically changed. But now notice what happens before you avoid it. Maybe your chest tightens. Maybe the task feels vague. Maybe you imagine failing. Maybe you resent being controlled. Maybe you simply feel bored. Then your hand reaches for relief. That moment is the hidden machinery, not laziness, not a mysterious lack of ambition. A nervous system solving the nearest emotional problem, badly, because the solution works for 5 minutes and fails across 5 days. So what is the real reason you procrastinate? There is no single reason, but underneath many forms of delay is the same uncomfortable pattern. The present self feels something unpleasant. The future self receives the consequences, and the brain quietly chooses whoever is screaming louder. Next time you find yourself doing something bizarrely unimportant instead of the thing that matters, look at the task again. Then look one level deeper. The question is not only, why am I avoiding this? It is, what feeling am I avoiding? That blank document was never empty. It was full of emotion.